Listen, don't wait for permission from your husband, from your parents, from your children, from anyone. Remember, God gave it to you, not them. The universe gave it to you, not them. You see, I really believe sometimes our subconscious is really powerful. It's like this powerhouse computer. And when things don't go right, it says, it's not your fault. Your husband's not all in with you. It's not your fault. Inflation is here. It's not your fault. We have COVID. It's not your fault. We have shutdowns. And all I know is if you even have a millimeter, a crumb of you saying, I could do this, but if there's any but, that means you're not taking complete ownership. Even if someone else let you down, even if the partner robbed all your money, even if your spouse cheated on you. I get that. A lot of you are here for a lot of different reasons. Money, health, life, passion. What if you just took complete ownership? I made this mistake. I waited too long. I accepted this. I'm not saying it's right, but here's what I want to tell you. When you decide that it's all on you, oh my God, it's so liberating. Because then it's all on you. If it wins, that's you. If it doesn't win, that's you.
Need motivation?
Watch a Top 10 with Believe Nation.
Hey, it's Carmichael, and I make these videos because you are probably the most ambitious person in your circle, but you know you're capable of more, and you get that push by surrounding yourself with the best. So today, let's learn from one of the best, Dean Graziosi, and my take on his top 10 rules of success. Enjoy.
What if we decided to take ownership of all of it? What do you think is the most costly advice in the world? It's your broke friend telling you how to get rich. It's your single friend telling you what you should do with your relationship. We are letting unqualified people tell us where our future should be. And the way I look at it is, I don't want anybody steering my ship. If something pops in your head and go, damn, I'm letting him, I'm letting her, I'm letting that thought steer my ship. Listen, at the end of our lives, let's just, again, I digress a little bit, but I want to anchor each one of these things. At the end of our lives, if you have the chance to meet with God, meet with your maker, whatever you believe that is, do you want to give excuses on why it didn't work because you listened to other people? My mom said that wouldn't work. My husband thought that was a crazy idea. My cousin Diane said that, you need money to make money, or that men are evil, and once they cheat, every man cheats, or every man's bad. Like, I don't know what that is. But would you hate to be at the end of your life and realize that you missed out on love, you missed out on connection, missed out on that business because you took bad advice? I always think about this. I do these little tricks that maybe you think are mean, but I always think of if you met your maker at the end of your life. Imagine if God pulled out his iPhone, because of course he's got an iPhone. Imagine God pulled out his iPhone and played you a video of the woman or man you could have been. Think about that one for a minute. Imagine seeing the 3-minute highlight reel of the love you could have had, the health you could have enjoyed, the impact you could have made on the world. Man, I think about that and it just freaking like, hell no, it's go time. And will we fail? Of course, but I would so much rather be on the field playing and failing than being in the sidelines wearing someone else's jersey on the back of my shirt. I am not putting someone else's name on my jersey. It's Graziosi on the back, and I'm in the game, and that's in the game of life.
Rule number 2, be congruent.
There is nothing more powerful than congruency to reach your full potential, to have confidence, to be courageous. Listen, we all have friends that say they want the passion back in their relationship. Does anybody here have a friend that would love passion or a connection back in a relationship, a friend that tells you? Anybody have a friend that tells you they want passion or connection in their relationship, but they're on Facebook looking up old high school boyfriends or girlfriends, DMing people when nobody's knowing? I know a couple people in my life that say they want in front stage, they want the connection, they want the love again, but when no one's watching, they're kind of doing the stuff that derails that. People who say they want to be in the best shape of their life. This is the year. I want to be healthy. My kids deserve me to be healthy. But when no one's watching, they skip the workout, or they go to the gym, but they sit on their phone the whole time. And when they should order something a little healthier, they order something they shouldn't order. But when no one's watching, it's no big deal, right? And then they're telling their friends at lunch, I just don't know why the weight won't come off. I'm in the gym 5 days a week. I'm eating so great. BS. You're not doing the work when no one's watching. right? You say you want that business to thrive, to go to another level, but you did all the easy parts. And now you got to dig into marketing. You got to let your friends know you're going in this business. It's a little uncomfortable, so when no one's watching, you're working on your logo or the name of your site rather than the marketing that actually gets you out there or the phone call you need to make to close the deal. But you tell your friends it's not working, but really, you're not doing the work you should be doing when no one's watching. You guys feeling me on this one? Congruency is so unbelievable, and that's where values come from. That's where character comes from. I am by far not saying I'm perfect in any shape, way, or form, but I have an obsession now, especially at this phase of my life. I want to be so congruent that if my wife, my kids put a hidden camera on me for a week and they watch it, be like, damn, he does the same stuff he talks about. I would love for you guys to see me at a restaurant having a conversation with my family. You're in the booth behind me and you don't know that I don't know you're there, and you get done and go, damn, that's the same guy I met when we were on camera. That is so powerful. And the reason it's the theme for my kids is, listen, 15 or 13, who has kids? Right? Raise your hand if you have children. In today's world, can they pretty much do anything they want on social? I mean, they could be online, they could find porn in 2 minutes, they could do a million things. At 15, I know my daughter has friends that already drink, already do some other stuff, right? They could lie about all of it, turn off their locations and figure it out. I have to train my kids give them the ability to understand is who you are when no one's watching, is who you really are. I said, you could act perfect in front of me, perfect in front of your teachers, but if you're doing the things when no one's watching, then that's you, God, the universe, your character. And my kids are far from perfect, but they understand core values because of that. So today, I'm taking a little longer as we start here this morning. I want to share with you that could be a theme, or come up with your own 2022 theme. But I want to do the work. When I think about that, when no one's around, I want to do the work to be a better. When no one was watching for 4 days straight, I obsessed on what I was going to teach you today. It'll seem really easy, thing like it's just coming off my tongue. I have this whole thing laid out to get you the results you deserve, you desire, right? I did the work when no one's watching, so now when I'm front stage, it looks easy, looks amazing, but I really got my own notes and cheat sheet here. My daughter and son both pitch. They love winning games. You don't win on stage. You know when you win? You win when my daughter and son are out back. At 4:30 today, my daughter will be with her pitching coach, and she'll pitch for 2 hours. She'll pitch until her arm hurts. She does that on a regular basis, but when she goes and wins a game, it's because of what she did when no one was watching. So, did you ever hear that joke? It's a gambler who gambles nonstop passes away. He wakes up and all of a sudden he's in a casino. He's dressed to the nines, and every time he walks up to a slot machine, he puts in money. And he pulls the handle and money comes out. He's like, oh my God, I won. He goes to another and puts money in and pulls the handle. Oh my God, I won. And he keeps going, and all of a sudden he puts money in and he's just winning every time. And he puts money in and he's winning every time. Finally, he's got this big bucket of quarters or money, and he walks up to one of the people dressed nice, and he's like, oh my God. He said, I didn't think heaven would be like this. And the guy looked at him and said, who said you're in heaven? You see, we all think we want it easy. We all think we just want we want to open the gates and all the money and the happiness and the joy just pour out. Why, when people hit lotto, do they go broke? Because they had the resources handed to them, but they never found a way to be resourceful. You see, how we get resourceful is actually understanding that problems are the path to our bigger future. So if we handle bigger problems, we get bigger results.
Rule number 3, focus on relationships.
Even if you're in a career and you're in a job that you like, or you're going to start a business, or you're in a business, this is a time when people are uncertain. We must serve more, give more. If you have a product, make it better. If you do customer support, improve the customer support. I'm telling you, in times like this, the winners are the people that create. Now, I want you to hear the difference. What companies will go out of business are companies that are based on transactions only. Companies that'll go out of business are based on transactions only compared to based on relationships. Be a relationship business owner. Be a relationship marketer. Be in relationship when you sell. No matter what your product is, no matter what your service is, when you are a relationship-focused company or individual in your company and you want to go up the ladder of your career, when you focus on relationships, when you focus on listening to others, understanding where people are rather than just transactional, things change forever. Michael Gerber's book ages ago, I remember, and I'm going to paraphrase because I read that book a decade or more ago. is I remember saying, do you know what the difference between doctors being sued and not for malpractice? Anybody remember that in Michael Gerber's book? It was ages ago I read it. You know what the difference was? 8 minutes. Doctors who spent 10 minutes or less with a client were way more likely to be sued than doctors who spent 18 minutes or more. The only determining factor was a relationship, because they come into your room, doctor comes in, if you're a relationship, how you doing? You're not feeling so good, you got a temperature, oh, I think it's this, that, and the other thing, okay, take care and you're out. That's just a guy. Another guy comes in, says, oh my God, Isabel, how's your daughter doing? She went off to college, right? Oh, that's good, she liking college? Great. And they have a communication. 18 minutes compared to 10 is the difference between a malpractice lawsuit or not. So, if you're in business, have a career, want to expand, this is the year to serve more, love more, go deeper. What has hesitation already cost you? Your family doesn't need you to hesitate. Your family needs you to be bold. The world needs you to be bold. Because at the end of the day, remember what I said earlier about that conversation with your maker? Would you rather say, I hesitated, I was a little nervous, I waited? Or would you rather say, I went forward even though I was scared to death and I failed for a while? Which one would you rather choose? Would you rather choose trying and failing or hesitation and nothing? Hesitation and nothing or trying and failing? Because if you try and fail, what are you going to do next? You're going to try again. And if you fail, what are you going to do? You're going to try again. And with Lauren, what are you going to do after that? I know Tony Robbins does this and I love it. You're going to try it again. And there's no way, if you continue trying, there's no way you don't get to the finish line. It's impossible. Those that don't get to the finish line just found a certain place where they say, enough, I'm not going to try anymore. I'm going to sit right here. And what happens? 5 years goes by just like that.
Rule number 4, build yourself first.
When somebody tells me money doesn't buy happiness, I'm sorry, I'm going to say one bad word today. Bullshit. Bullshit. Money can serve in such a great way. Money is bad when people do bad things with it. Money can be amazing when you do the right thing. What I'm telling you today, and this is not what I thought I was going to share, put your oxygen mask on first. That's what you need to do. You need to take uncomfortable action. You need to push yourself. If you're a part of our mastermind family, welcome, be here. Push yourself. Stop waiting for someone else to do it. Take uncomfortable action. Do the things you need to do, even if it's at your own pace. You don't have to be Roger Rabbit going 100 miles an hour, but you got to move forward. Don't wait. No one's coming to do this for you. Whatever you have, whatever capabilities, whatever part of our company you are, or anything you're doing, if you really want to make a difference, if you want to be in that place where you can have your oxygen mask on first, I'm going to be really honest with you. It's not easy. I've doubted myself a million times. I felt like an imposter a million times. I've had my own family look me in the eye and say, stop being a dreamer, Dean. That's for other people. You didn't go to college. We don't come from that kind of money. You'll never be that. They don't say that when I land my own jet in my hometown and my whole family gets off my own plane, right? I don't say that to be a jerk. You don't even see me. Do you ever see me post a picture of my plane on my Instagram? I'm not the guy that holds up money or shows you in my plane or my house that's the house of my dreams. I don't do that. I don't want people to follow me because I hold stacks of money on a Facebook ad, right? I want people to know me for the heart I have. But I'm blessed to have more success than I ever could have dreamed possible. And I get to take care of the people I love. I got to put my own oxygen mask on years ago, and now I put it on a lot more people than you'd ever know. That's not all I donate to. We've done it in a lot of different areas. And this year, I want to donate, I don't know about the feelings you have, but who felt that in their heart when I shared what I was able to do, right? Who in here has a desire to help other people once you're secure? Can I share something with you? And I want to share this today because it just feels on my heart. I'm going to tell you to be selfish. Be selfish. Be selfish for the next 3 years. Go get yourself strong. Go put your own oxygen mask on. Put some money in the bank. Crush your company. Be selfish with your time. Be selfish with your income. Be greedy on the amount of money you want to make. I'm telling you, be greedy, be selfish. You know why? Because if you go all in, if you stop thinking, I wish I could do more, be more, go all in and make the money. Get secure and put your oxygen mask on, and what you can do in 5 years from now, what you can do in 7 years from now, what you could do in 12 years from now is unbelievable. but we need this moment of us. We need this moment of getting ourselves. So many of you I see right now are the most giving people you've ever, anyone knows. You're the person that gives the most. You know what you're doing? You're putting oxygen masks on everybody else and you can barely breathe. You're out there helping everybody. Let's do this, let's do this, let's do this. And you're barely breathing. You're like, here's an oxygen mask. Here's an oxygen mask. When you need to hold it to your face. I love the story of Andrew Carnegie, right? What did Andrew Carnegie at a certain pace in his life? You know what he said? I'm going to spend the first half of my life making a ton of money. And I'm going to spend the second half of my life giving it all away.
Also, to make sure you're actually taking action after watching this video, I've designed a special free worksheet just for this video. The worksheet will highlight all of the lessons learned in this video, as well as pull out our 3 favorite learnings and quotes that will inspire you to actually do something. The worksheet will also give you space to write down what your key takeaways are and your specific plan of action to make sure you're getting results. If you want the worksheet designed specifically for this video, absolutely for free, there's a link in the description below. Go click on it and start building the momentum in your life and your business. I'll see you there. Rule number 5, improve your communication skills.
I want to tell you, because I obsess on communication, because I know my wife, because I love being in love. I love the fact that my wife still looks at me every morning like it's the first week we met. It is the most magical thing I could ever share with anyone. I walk in a room, if my wife looks at me, she looks at me a way that takes my knees out. She still looks at me like I'm the greatest human she's ever seen. And I feel so blessed, and it just makes me mirror that back to her. But I'm gonna tell you a little something. My wife's a badass. She had her own business when I met her. She was voted the top hairstylist in Arizona, 8 out of 10 years. She has her own business, it's right next door. It's not easy being married to me because I am like a steamroller, and life because my business has gotten so big and my schedule is so nuts, a lot of life has to revolve around me. I hate to say it, but it's true. I travel a lot. I have to go and speak. I'm partners with my partner, Tony Robbins. I help also run Tony's company and the company we own together and my own company. And I own over 100 different houses, and I have a real estate division. And I'm writing a new book. And I want to be a good dad to my older children. And man, a lot of life revolves around me. So you marry a powerful, amazing woman who's used to having her freedom, control of her time, control of her business, control of everything. And all of a sudden you marry a man who's like, you're like, hey, it's like, no, babe, we're jumping on a plane. I got a deal to close in Malibu. Or I got to go down to Florida and talk to Tony. And I want to tell you, my wife's business is amazing. But in comparison, my wife has a great year. It could be hundreds and hundreds of thousands. I have a great year. It's tens of millions of dollars. So there's sometimes, I'm being really personal now. I want to tell you why communication is so important. She could say, hey, babe, but I was going to do this thing. And in my head, I'm like, you're going to do a $500 hair extension thing that you want to do. I'm going to close a $20 million deal. Scrap that, get on the plane, we're out of here, right? Those are some of the things I know I did in previous relationships. Mine's bigger, mine's more important. It's about me. Be happy, we're wealthy, you get to have freedom. Jump on the plane, do what the hell I say. Can you see how, as a guy, that's easy to just say, I got this, I'm working, I got this, hon, don't even worry. You never have to work again, close your shop. Close it down, we don't need it. That's how my previous self thought of things. Just being honest, this is how we grow. But now I have to think about that all the time. And I make compromises, and I communicate with her in a way, I say, babe, what you did is absolutely amazing, and if you want me to shift that, I'll move my meeting. And we adjust and we communicate, and she'll have the nerve to come to me and say, babe, all last month it was all about you. Can I work on a little bit? I'm like, oh my God, did I do that to you? All right, tell me. And we'll communicate and we'll talk. I want to tell you, in my 30s, it would have been like, mine is multimillionaire, yours is peanuts, my way or the highway, without even realizing I was saying that. Can you guys understand? I'm not a bad human. I didn't ever think I was doing things. I thought I was working hard for my family. It's like, I'm talking about leaving legacy. I want to make sure my children and my grandchildren and my great-grandchildren are protected. And I have you guys to worry about in my Project Next family and self-education family and my partnerships. I have so much to worry about. It's me. How do you think my relationship would be with my wife if it was all about me? How do you think it would be when I walked in a room if I squashed her dreams and her desires and just made it all about me and didn't communicate? I'm just telling you, the communication skills you think you have right now that are good, they could be better. Because if you would have asked me in my 40s about if I was a good communicator, I would have said, one of the best in the world because I can close deals. Great. I also went through a divorce in my 40s. How good of a communicator was I?
Rule number 6, keep on going.
Life can pull us in a lot of directions. The craziness of the outside world can allow us to forget about our dreams or find imposter syndrome or lose our confidence, lose our drive, lose our desire, lose our focus. We get overwhelmed on not knowing where to start, and then we don't start at all. All those things happen. They're life. Add in 2.5 years of COVID. Now that we're going into an economic winter and inflation high, which is gas and food, and all the prices are high, we add that we're in a polarized time in history where it feels like everybody's trying to push us apart when we're trying to come back together. Anybody feel that way? Wouldn't we rather all just get together and find our common ground? The media and the world want to tell us how different we are, but I think we have way more in common than everybody's telling us. And if we all were exactly the same, wouldn't that just be a boring world? Right? So we're in this time of a couple of 2.5 years of COVID, and then we go into a place where now we're in an economic downturn, recession looming. I think by July 1, they'll officially announce we're in a recession. If you ask anybody, we're actually in it. And I was in business for myself in 2009, or in 2007 when we went into a recession, but I was also in business for myself in 1999. Who remembers the internet crash, right, of 99? I was in business then as well, naive and didn't even know it was a thing. By 2007, I understood it more and had smarter friends, and we made transitions and shifts in advance, and we were able to thrive through that shifting time. If I was just starting in business, if I wanted to shift my life, my income, my success, my happiness, my joy, what would I like to learn? So that's really, I'd love to say that there's more thought to it than that. We need this connection. We need to be plugged in. We need not to forget what our dreams are. We need not to let imposter syndrome be in control of us. We can't let the inner self-doubt say, play small, especially now. With the world shifting, I just want to tell you, this is not a time to sit on your hands. I did an interview 2 or 3 days ago with Tom Bilyeu. I don't know if any of you have ever seen Impact Theory with Tom Bilyeu on YouTube. He's really good. Dear friend, he's great. He interviews wonderful people. He's really smart. So I took my kids with me. I had a couple podcasts. I went and saw my friend Brendan Burchard, and then I flew down to go see Tom Bilyeu, and I brought my older kids, my 13 and 15-year-old, and let them see what their dad does. I'll tell you a story about that in a minute. And as I was talking with Tom and talking about where the world is going and the shifts happening, I'm going to use the real estate space as an example. When the economy shifts, interest rates went up 0.75. All of these things affect, and if you're old enough to understand, there's a bigger byproduct coming, right? The housing industry, there's no way it can't be affected. It's coming, right? But when you're in an industry that's been booming for 10 or 12 years, and if you're in the mortgage industry or the housing, if you sell houses, if you build houses, if you build if you're in it, the last thing you want to do is face it and go, no, maybe it's a little hiccup. Oh, this will happen quick, right? And we get a little amnesia to the way it used to be. So instead of saying, no, it's going to be fine, if I truly care about you guys, what I want to do today is help prepare you, help anticipate, not make it worse than it is, but not make it better than it is. You know, when things change, when it's scary, when something new happens, what is it we always talk about? Flight or fight, right? We got the flight or fight mechanism. Tom Bilyeu said something I never heard. He said the third F he thinks is even more relevant in today's world, and that's freeze. That's freeze. That's what I want you to think about today. That was my notes here. My team puts together nice cheat sheets for me, and I write all over them so much and so sloppy I can't read my own writing. But what I wrote was the 3 Fs: fight, flight, or freeze. With all the crap that's led up to this recession, this inflation of 2.5 years of COVID, where COVID did things like made us realize, screw that job of me going in every day and not being with my family, not doing something I love, being unsure, missing, like, screw that. I'm out on that. 82% of people right now want to quit or leave their job to do something new or do their own thing. Never before has it been. The worst it was ever prior to this was 48%. And that was a couple decades ago. So 82% of people are like, COVID made me realize. Maybe you went through a little hardship, but with that shift comes uncertainty, right? And then all of a sudden you slam into gas, the highest it was, and inflation, and now you're like, should I not buy my house? Should I wait to buy? Should I wait to sell? What should I do? Should I invest? Should I take my money out of the stock market? Is my 401k gonna go away forever? Should it go back? Should I take it out and sit in cash? But if I do that, they say cash is trash. So if I sit on cash, it's trash, but if I leave it in the market, it goes down. Right? And all of a sudden this uncertainty builds, and if uncertainty builds, more than I've seen in my 53 years on this planet, guess what happens? Freeze. I don't know if I should do my self-education industry. I don't know if I should do anything with investment. I don't know. And when you feel that way, you freeze, you sit on your hands, you do nothing. This is not a time to freeze. In fact, this is a time to thrive. This is a time to gain capabilities because most people are going to freeze more than you know, and we're not there yet. If people smarter than me, where we're going with, I get the chance to have great conversations, more and more uncertainty will climb, confidence will go down, and more freezing will happen.
Rule number 7, believe.
It's the power of you can't. I really want you to hear this because this is stuff I've already taught you or you've probably already heard, but I want to give you some catchphrases. I want to give you some catchphrases that you go, oh, I get that, right? Anybody here listen to Matthew McConaughey's book, Green Lights? Raise your hand if you did. Such a good book. Oh my God. And I don't know if you listened to it, but he's like, he's an actor and he's a storyteller and he's one crazy dude. And way crazier than you thought, and really a good dude, like, because he's evolved and he grew, good family man, all that stuff. But the whole point, the name of the book is Green Lights. And his whole point, the green light is in life, when things go sideways and this didn't happen, someone let you down, right? The Tony Robbins, life happens for us, not to us. A lot of times when it was something that went totally sideways, or he gets stuck with a foster family that is absolutely insane in Australia and he can't leave for a year and he's going crazy. All these things that he thought were like the end of his life, a red light, when he looked back, they were actually a green light. Like, wow, that gave me the gift to understand this. It gave me the ability to act. It gave me the ability to understand that trouble with my dad made me a better human here. That trouble with my mom made me a better husband, right? And all those things. And he anchored that when something's going sideways, in most cases, it's a green light. And throughout the book, I'm not going to try to pretend to talk like Matthew McConaughey, but through the book, he gets to a point and all of a sudden he goes, green light. And now in my head, the reason I'm sharing this, because I want to talk about the power of you can't, is I love little things like that because you're going through a tough time. You're like, damn, why is this happening? And all of a sudden your brain goes, green light. You're like, oh, all right. Just like that green light phrase, I want you to think of you can't as a new trigger of like, oh, yes, I can. You see, I've embodied that when you think, hey, I'm going to launch my knowledge industry, my self-education. I'm going to launch my course, my coaching program, my high-ticket offer. I'm going to launch my next-level online business during a recession. And people in your family are going to go, ooh, you can't do that. Friends are going to say, oh, you can't do that now. Some of you are going to say, you can't do it during this presidency, or you can't do it over the last presidency, or you can't do it over the next one. And then what happens is your inner self-doubt, if you guys ever read Millionaire Success Habits, I call it the inner villain, will say, you can't do this. You've tried before. You're too old. You're too young. You don't understand technology. You're an introvert. All these things happen and that voice goes, you can't, you can't. And here's what's so sad. The majority of the world go, yeah, maybe I can't. But what I've trained myself to do, it's why I wrote it in that book and why I'm going to give you this little thing today, is when that voice comes in your ear or someone says it to you or it comes from inside, you can't means I must. Right? When I look back, God, I was so lucky because I didn't have a lot of mentors when I was younger. But I remember family and friends telling me I can't. And I remember thinking in my head, they're right. I don't have money, not that smart. I've never done this before. But who the heck? No way. I must now. Right? My 12th grade yearbook, my saying was like, no one knows me now, but you'll hear me someday. And it was that same philosophy. I don't know where I got it from. Maybe it was watching my mom struggle and I wanted to take care of her. But I just remember everybody saying, you're not that smart. If you're not going to college, if you're not doing this, if you don't have money, it takes money to make money. My guidance counselor literally, and maybe you guys can appreciate someone who said this in your life at one point. My guidance counselor literally told me, not exaggerating, I'm not making this up, that I should go, if I wasn't going to college, that I should go to the only factory in our town and start with a minimum wage job packing plastic bags in boxes. They were a plastic bag company. And she said, you might be able to work your way up through that. Thanks, Miss Canosa. I'm glad you saw my potential. We've all been there. It's like, really? It was like, college, oh, the dumb guy. Ooh, go pack minimum wage. Maybe you could be a line manager someday. I mean, literally, come on. But the reason I'm saying this is because somewhere, someone told you, can we just say it like it is? Sometime in your life, maybe multiple times, someone told you you can't, or that's not for you, or it's not the right time, or that's for other people, and you didn't do it. I could get emotional. I don't know what, maybe because I'm not feeling good today. I could literally cry. I'm not kidding, because how many times have you missed out on the man or the woman you're supposed to be because someone unqualified told you should? And the only reason I think I get emotional is because I was a millimeter away from not being this guy. I was a millimeter away from believing what everybody told me. You don't have great grades. You don't have money. You're not going to college. You should just be happy with the life that someone else deals with you or dealt you.
Rule number 8, surround yourself with greatness.
Hear me on that. You must. Who we surround ourselves is who we become. That's not my saying. It's been around since the beginning of time. It's a fact. So who will you listen to, learn from, and who will you be persuaded by? Find those that are living life where you want to live and model it. Listen, today, I'm sharing what I've learned over 30 years of going after it. I've failed miserably. I've had an ulcer in my life. I went through a divorce. I've had panic attacks. I've had anxiety attacks. I went broke once, all the way down to nothing. Had to sell the house I was living in. But I've also found real love in my life. If you guys follow me on Instagram, my wife and I don't have an Instagram relationship. I'm married to the love of my life. I fall more in love every day. My wife's here today. When she came in today, I see her. It's 5 years we've been together. She walks in a room, I feel like I'm 12 years old and I'm in love with my best friend. I love being a dad. I live in the house of my dreams. I get to fly on my own plane. I get to do all this cool stuff. I have 15 different companies. Last year, we fed 7 million people through Feeding America. Last year, we built 2 schools in Africa. Last year, I donated $600,000 of my own money to help kids in slavery through Operation Underground Railroad. And that's only some of the things we've done. I don't say that to brag. I say that because that was a kid who lived in a trailer park, who lived in a bathroom with his dad, who didn't go past high school, who got made fun of, who had parents who struggled terribly. I'm not saying, look what I've done, magic. I'm just saying what's possible when you shift the outcome, when you decide to follow people who've already done it. Model people that, if you want to play great tennis, I don't care if your Aunt Edna watched every tennis match for the last 40 years. If she's never played, never won, never failed, you can't take advice from Aunt Edna. You could give her a kiss and bring her some flowers and go find someone who used to play tennis or plays tennis better than you and let them raise your bar, raise your standards, raise what you're willing to accept for yourself and for your family.
Rule number 9, focus on the fix.
How many people in your life you know are still stuck on the thing that went wrong? They started the business, started a real estate business in 06, and then the economy shifted. that burned him. Never again will I go in business. Had a relationship in 2014 and that bastard cheated on me. Never again with men. They're all pigs, right? Which a lot of them are, I get it. I'm not sticking up for bad men or anyone bad, right? My whole point is sometimes when things go sideways, we focus on why the hell it happened. How could he do that? We started that partnership and he robbed the money. We started doing business together and she didn't stick to her, you know, what she promised. And what happens is our brain wants to focus on why it happened, whose fault, and it could happen again. You can't succeed that way. You have to train your brain to say, that sucks. And I'm sorry if any of those things happen to you. But what did I learn from it? And I gotta move on. I gotta focus on solutions. What I taught my kid, my son Brody needs this help more than anybody, and I remind him all the time. I call it focus on the fix. When something goes off with my son, he really wants to analyze it and think about it and like almost get sad over it. And I'm trying to slowly, and through the years, he's 13 now and he's way better, is focus on the fix. It happened. It went sideways. Like, I know this sounds crazy, but it's like if you spill a glass of milk, you could say, damn, why did that spill? Somebody put it on the carpet. It's older milk. It's gonna get in, it's gonna make it smell. Why would someone put it there? Is the floor uneven? You can do all those things, or you can go get a towel and a new glass of milk. When people let you down, it goes sideways. And what if that failure is nothing more than something you needed so you could be stronger? Have you ever met anybody super successful that didn't go through hell to get there? I haven't. Have you ever met anybody with an amazing, incredible, love, passion-filled relationship that didn't go through hell prior? I don't know, or didn't go through some tough times to figure it out. I am married to the love of my life. I do have the best relationship I mean, it's unbelievable I have. But I also messed up a previous relationship and felt pain and went through a divorce. I had to go through that to figure that out. I'm sorry I had to. I hope so many of you didn't have to, but I did. It's the same thing here. What if that problem, that thing that went wrong, the spilled milk, is just part of your puzzle pieces? And paraphrasing and taking from my friend Tony is, what if life happened for us, not to us? Remember, the little things are the big things. And what do I mean by that? We set these big resolutions, but what we're doing today is we are going upstream to anchor in all these little knobs, these little, you know, they say small hinges swing a big door. What we're talking about, these bullet points that I'm giving you today, thank you, Diane, for writing that down, the little things are the big things. That's all I'm giving you, these little shifts that you go, oh, I can't believe that. You know what? I'm gonna focus on how to fix this. What can I learn from it, and how can I fix it? You know, something happens and you go, you know, I'll wait. You know, I've hesitated in the past. I'm not gonna hesitate anymore. I'm gonna be bold. I'm gonna do it anyway. I'm gonna do it anyway, right? These little things are the big things. So the reason I did that is, what routines, what disciplines, what morning routines, what focus time do you need? What creative time do you need? What practicing personal growth, listening to it, setting yourself up daily for a win. What little things can you do that move the needle in a big way, right? What is the art of Kaizen? How do you run a 1,000-mile race? One step at a time. How do you make your goals stick in 2022? One little piece at a time. What little routines can you shift? What morning habits can you shift?
And rule number 10, the last one before some very special bonus clips, is make an impact.
Make an impact. And that's what I consider being success. Success isn't just the money. You know, I have to tell you, and do you mind if I share? I hope you don't think I'm bragging. I don't tell anybody, I don't take pictures. But 10 years ago, 10 or 12 years ago, I got invited by somebody, now maybe 15 years ago, I got invited to go on a private plane. I don't know, I honestly don't know how long ago. It could have been 20 years ago. And it was somebody that was really wealthy. And I'm like, I came from a kid that was in a trailer park, and I was already in business, and I was already doing well, but nothing like that. And I flew on this plane, and it was like, you just drive your car to the plane, you drive right out on the tarmac. I'm in shock. You get out of your car, you take 3 steps, you walk up into the plane, it takes off, you land, and when you land, your rental car is waiting at the bottom of the steps. I'm like, holy crap. This is unbelievable. There's food on the plane. There's a bathroom on the plane. It's like, this is ridiculous. This can't be possible. And I remembered that plane. And I remember thinking to myself, I'm buying one of these someday. I'm going to buy it after I hit certain criteria, after I saved enough, after I gave enough away. I'm buying one of these. And I've chartered since then. I've probably flown mostly private, I don't know, 10 years. I never talk, you never hear me talk about this. Look at this. Some of you I have a relationship with for 7 to 10 years. Never shared this. That's why I don't want you to respect me because I got a big house and a plane. I want you to respect me for my heart, my feeling, and how I got here. And that's what I hope I share that with you guys. You see a lot of people, go on your Facebook right now. I guarantee there's somebody holding the $500,000 in their hand and someone else in front of their Lamborghini and someone else showing off their watch, right? You never see that with me. I wear pretty much a gray t-shirt today. It's a very special day. I have a greenish gray shirt on. It's a special day right here. I digress. I was on that plane probably 15, 18 years ago. I bought that plane a year ago. But was it easy? No. Have I failed miserably? Yes. Have I doubted myself? Absolutely. Have I felt like an imposter? More than you'll ever know or ever believe. But it's possible. The only thing is we have to stay in the game. We have to find what drives us. We have to keep moving forward. We have to say to ourselves, again, I see so many incredible people on here. I know the success you've had. This isn't about you not having success up until now. It's about me hopefully helping you get to that next level of success. And listen, I'm at a place where I don't, yes, I have a plane. I have a beautiful home. But I'm not flashy. I drive a Ford pickup truck, by the way, guys. If you lived in Arizona and you saw me at a red light, I drive a white Ford F-150 every day. I do not have any other car. I don't have motorcycles. I don't buy watches. I have a really nice watch on my wrist right now. If you know watches, it's one of the nicest watches out there. It was a present from Tony Robbins from all the work we do together. Or else I'd have a simple old watch or not wear one at all. So I'm really simple in some areas. And then I get to do the things that I want. But I wouldn't do any of those things that I want unless I could give at the level I want to give. Last year, I donated more to charity than ever before in my life. You have a dream, you have a desire, and when you're a certain age, you stop that dream. Maybe you got serious about a job and people put their arm around you and said, "You're finally growing up. I appreciate your responsibility." Really? I just threw my dreams in the toilet and you want to say you're proud of me? But it anchored that in. Oh, that's the right thing. My parents, my friends, my teachers. One more time. Screw that. They did it because they thought they were caring and loving you, and that's not it. You have to push past the fear. Listen, I don't like to always use me as an example. Let me just share Matt Larson, my top real estate students. Didn't go to college, actually got thrown out of college, tried one semester, they threw him out. Didn't have any money, grew up on a farm not his farm, his father managed another farm in a little tiny rented place, worked on a farm, went to be a machine shop worker, worked 70 hours a week in a machine shop, lived in a 300 square foot apartment, did all the stuff I'm telling you, got my courses, spent a lot of money on his education, and his family came to him and said, "Are you crazy? Real estate's for rich people. You'll never be able to do it." His girlfriend broke up with him because he spent lots of money on the education, said, "You're a dreamer." And he called us to literally give everything back. And we said, "Did you even try?" He's like, "No, but. All stories, all fear. All we said is, please go try it." That was like 3,500 real estate deals ago, millions of dollars generated, lives changed. He's a partner of mine. He's a great dude. He went to a whole nother level. He employs 70 people. Do you know what almost killed him? Was the fear of believing all the for lack of a better word, he was told all those years. It wasn't the real estate skills. It wasn't the real estate market. It didn't mean that it wasn't because he didn't go to college and he didn't have money, or he was in too small of a town or too big of a city or too hot of a market, or there's no good deals or bandit signs don't work. It had nothing to do with that. He almost quit because of the fear of breaking through, of listening to all the crap. What about you? Anything like that close ever happened to you? Of course it has. You might be thinking it right now. Dean, you want me to write down what I'm good at? You want me to write down what I like to do? That's not going to make me money. That's not true. Completely not true. I had dyslexia. I barely got out of high school. I was a car mechanic in my 20s. Every day, greasy hands and painting cars and sucking in fumes. If somebody would have said, yeah, that car mechanic in there that's all dirty with his mechanic outfit on, he's going to write multiple New York Times best-selling books. He's going to be best friends with Tony Robbins and Richard Branson. He's going to touch the lives of millions of people. You say, that guy? No, wait a minute. You're talking that guy over there. The one sucking paint fumes, painting the side of the car. Never. Right? So don't tell me wherever you are, you can't go to where you want to go. I'm giving you the keys. I'm giving you the principles. I wish someone would have told me this stuff earlier on. It doesn't matter if you're 20, 40, 60, 80, or 90. Today's the day you could start. Today's the day you could break through that fear. Today's the day you can realize what my vision is and how I can start saying no to stuff so I can work on my unique ability, so I can go to that next level. Do you want to know one of the biggest secrets to sales in our world today, right now, where I believe where we're at, is authenticity. People just want to know what's real, what's raw, and they want it from your heart. If you think about the people that you've connected with in your life, remember this phrase: people will buy from you, say yes to you, when they feel understood, not just when they understand you. I want you to listen to that again. People will buy from you, say yes to you, when they feel understood, not just when they understand you. Let's take an example, and then I'm going to circle back around with authenticity. So I'm going to park authenticity, put a pin in it, and come back to it. But think about this. Think about, let's just say the quintessential sales area is used cars or new cars. And I know that world is changing, but let's just talk about the way it was for the last 100 years, 50 years. Saturday afternoon, you're car shopping, you pull into the dealership, there's 10 dealers waiting in the window, waiting for you to come in. You pull up, one of them gets a high five, your turn, go chat with the guy in the Tesla or whatever, right? Now think about this scenario. Same scenario, person comes up and says, hey, glad you're here today. Nice Saturday, right? Hey, listen, I just wanted to let you know, I've been selling these cars for 27 years. I know them inside and out. I've been voted the top sales guy 14 months out of the last 5 years. And it's because I care about the client. This is what I do. And I can see you're here today and you'd love a sporty car, but let me guess. You want something that's a little good on the gas, maybe eco-friendly so you can do your part. I got this amazing two-seater. It's fast, it's eco-friendly, it's this, it's that. Let's go take a look at it. Now that's a sales guy that could make a job for 27 years, and he wants you to understand him. But what if you went there that day because you just had your third child and you want your wife to have something that's not a minivan, but the big SUVs are too clunky, and you're just looking for something in the middle, nothing even close. Now that same salesperson that wants you to understand him, what if there's a salesperson that comes out and you see him walking over to you and you're like, oh, shit, here comes a sales guy. You roll down your window or you get out and he says, hey, listen, first off, I know it's a Saturday. We all work on commissions. Authenticity, transparency. We all work on commissions. It's my turn up. I get you. But I just want to tell you, let me just back up. I just want to ask, why are you here today? What's your family like? How can I serve you? Tell me a little bit about you. And all of a sudden the person says, wow. Immediately, who do you have rapport with immediately? Sales guy number 2. Because he wants you to feel understood, and probably not on purpose, that's just who he is. All of a sudden you go, well, we had our 3rd kid, and you go, oh my God, I'm on my 4th, I get it. My wife hated the minivan. When I thought about bringing it to her house, she was like, are you crazy? But then I looked at the monster Escalade, and that's a bus. But we figured out something in between. Would you be open to something kind of in the middle? It's kind of like the sporty, smaller SUV. All of a sudden you're laughing, high-fiving, talking about the names of your kids, what's going on in school, they're playing softball or baseball and what they do, and all of a sudden you're sitting in the car going, this is a good guy. And what did he do most of the time? He listened. He was authentic. He was transparent. You cannot create your compelling future until you decide what your painful future is. Because this will get you, once you get around here, now all of a sudden, you're going up the loop. Like you projected, if I don't do crap, I'm gonna be stuck right here. But now that I felt that way, what would be ideal? What would be ideal? What's a compelling future for you? For me, in my relationship, Tony, I'm gonna give my credit to my boy, Tony. I've done all these things before, but he made me do it in front of him, made me go in the other room and do it. I took a piece of paper when it comes to relationships. I made a line down the middle, and I put on the left side, what was an absolute must in the next relationship I have. And on the right side, I put absolute unacceptable. And I literally wrote down things that, I'm just being honest, I wrote down everything. I wrote down someone who loves my children. I know this will be hard. Someone who will love my children as if they're own. Someone who works on their personal growth. Someone who's a go-getter. Someone who knows that we're flawed and we're all trying to get better. I just wrote down all these things that I was looking for. Seemed like it was too good to be true. And I put what was not acceptable. Someone who doesn't have a big heart. Someone who won't accept my children. Someone who wants to fight with my ex or fight with other people. Someone who likes confrontation. I won't accept anyone who doesn't, want to work on their health and their growth. I wrote all this stuff down. It seemed crazy. It was my compelling future. I stared at it and I looked at it and I felt so good, and it gave me my true north. I projected being alone and staying the way I was, and I also wrote down a compelling future. I write down a compelling future in my business all the time. I do things the way I want to do. I want to make my own rules. I don't want anybody to tell me what kind of husband I can be. If I want to take off in the middle of the day and romance my wife because we have the most amazing relationship in the world. That might sound boring to you, or that sounds, but that's me. I will fight for that. I will die for that. That is my why. Being a leader to my incredible team that's like my family. Learning and growing and help impact the world. Help unite us and lock arms so we can help shift the world. How do we change the global economy? By changing the economy in our homes. How do we change the global conversation? By changing the conversation in our homes. We are the change. We affect the change. No one's coming to fix it. To me, that's my why. I hope you can hear it. I hope you can feel it. It comes from my heart. So when I'm standing on one side of the ravine and I see where I want to go on the other, before I even know how I'm going to get in there, I know my why, and I'm getting over there no matter what. If I got to get bloody, bruised up, fail, whatever it takes, I'm getting to the other side. Are you? Do you know the true reason why you're listening to this? Why you want another level? If you don't, go find it. I promise you, when you find it, nothing will stop you. Not a brick wall, not a steel girder, not dirt, a mountain, nothing. A mountain won't stop you when you know your true why. I just told a story to a dear friend of mine that I haven't shared in ages. And I look back at this story. It's the first time I ever made $1 million. I was in my 20s. It was on a real estate deal. And I say that now, $1 million to me then might as well have been $200 billion. But I look back and I wonder if I would be as creative and as hungry now as I was when I did that deal. Because here's what I know, is a lot of times being successful has a lot to do with being naive, or not been told no, to where you start believing what other people say, to not have watching the news for years so you just want to play small, or listen to people tell you how now this isn't the right time, not the right president. All these things in life, these outside influences, outside game affects the inner game. It makes you play small without even realizing. Like every year you just start playing smaller and smaller. Well, I was in my early 20s. Had no money. I mean, when I say no money, nothing, right? Just working hard. I was hustling cars. I was fixing wrecked cars and selling them. And this piece of property came for sale. Well, it actually wasn't for sale. It came for sale because I became friends with the owner. His name was Mark Miller. He's a famous artist, and he owned 28 acres of vineyards because he owned a winery, and there was an old vineyard, had the grapevine still in it, but the weeds had grown up. And everybody stayed away from this property because he wanted $180,000, and all the neighbors got so used to the property being vacant that one guy shot his bow and arrow. He practiced, his arrow for archery hunting. He practiced on the property. Another guy had his four-wheeler trail through the whole thing. Another guy, there was a barn on the property. One of the neighbors kind of adopted the barn because it was kind of vacant. No one was around. So he kind of adopted the barn and used it. And to him, it was his. And the other guy up on the hill just wanted complete privacy. He didn't want anybody building next to him. That's in real estate, we call it not in my backyard. I could build a house, but I don't want anybody building in my backyard, right? So everybody stayed away from this property, and plus he was asking maybe a little bit too much. But Mark Miller and I, the gentleman on the property, became friends, and I made a deal with him to give him $90,000 up front and $90,000 in 2 years or a year, something like that. And I was going to subdivide this property. So I didn't have the 90 grand back then, and I told this story prior to one of my clients and friend lent me the money to buy the property. I made him a partner on it. So I went to Mark Miller, I locked up the property, and I go through the... Now, I'm sharing this story specifically, take the lessons out of it, is One of it was being naive. And one of his, and I put this in my first real estate course, which was called Think a Little Different. Because I want to encourage you to think outside the box. Life paints you inside. Life is forcing you in at all times. We go to school and they give us time frames and buzzers and bells and don't talk to anybody else and sit in your square, sit in your world. Don't stray out. In business, if you don't collaborate with others, you die. But in school, if you do it, it's called cheating. Makes zero sense to me. It's like the world is designed to put you in the box, and the only people who make it to live at their full potential are the ones who break out of the box. So I'm sharing this story because being naive, being young, and being freaking hungry. I mean, I was hungry for another level. There was nobody telling me no, made this $1 million deal. So buy the property. I start going through the subdivision process, and I'm beg, borrow, and steal. I'm hustling cars during the day to use the money to pay for this subdivision. I have engineers and architects, and then I got to lay out the road, and I'm learning all this stuff about a big subdivision. It's called a major subdivision. I had done a minor subdivision, which was like 3 lots or 4 lots or less. So now I'm doing a major, and all of a sudden it starts. I go to the first planning board meeting, and all the neighbors show up, and they're just like I murdered their children, for lack of a better word. They just despised me. And I'm like, wow, how am I gonna do it? And you gotta realize in business, one person upset can stop or cause you years. And I didn't have the money to drag this thing out for years and fight the neighbors and all that kind of stuff. So they go, and one of the guys' name was Wade Sargent. His mother and my mother were best friends growing up. So Wade was still there fighting me. He didn't want this subdivision to go in his backyard. So I walked to Wade's house one day. This is being hungry. This is being not afraid to go after your dreams, not taking no as an answer. When's the last time you gave up too easy and someone else got their dreams, maybe with your idea? So I knock on Wade's door. His name was Wade Sargent. I said, hey, Wade, what's up? Hey, Dean. He was kind of like, you're my friend, but you're trying to ruin my backyard. So I said, Wade, listen, I'm going to make that subdivision happen. It might take me longer. Everybody can fight me. I'm going to make it happen. I don't give up. But how can I make you happy? And what he told me changed everything. He said, well, I just really don't want the road to go close to my backyard. If I had a little buffer, he said, if I had a little buffer, I'd be fine. I'd support you. I'm like, well, by buffer, you mean if I sold you a piece of that property, you'd be happy? He said, yeah, would you do that? I said, heck yeah, I'll take your money. So I do a lot line revision, not even a subdivision. You don't have to know real estate to understand this. I did a lot line revision, and I gave him a half of an acre, and he cut me a check. I'm like, wow. I went to all the neighbors. The guy that was using the barn like it was his, carved out an acre and sold him the barn. The guy that wanted privacy, I sold him 4 acres. Another guy wanted a 2-acre cushion. Next door neighbor wanted to sell some wanted to put a house for his daughter on his property someday. I ended up selling over $250,000 worth of lot line revisions to the neighbors. And all of them happy. All of a sudden, all of them from hating me, everybody staying away from this property, they all love me. I was the guy going down the road, they high-fived me, they waved to me. And then guess what? Then I subdivided the center piece of property and sold the center for over $800,000. Brought in over $1 million on this piece of property by making the neighbors happy. Now, people much smarter than me, developers in our town, looked at that property, told me I was crazy. Rick Affuso's dad told me, because he had farmed that property when he was a kid, and I respected him. He was a great real estate developer in our little town. And he told me, you paid $180 for that property, you just lost your butt. He didn't say but. You just lost your ass, he said. And I was like, damn it, maybe I did. But they were all looking at it from inside the box. I was desperate. I was hungry. I didn't take no for an answer. And I looked at it completely different. Like the name of my first course, Think a Little Different. Where in your life right now are you inside the box and you don't realize it, and you need to think a little different? That's where change happens. That's where innovation happens. That's where breakthroughs happen. That's when people go, holy crap, how did he do that? How did she do that? It's by not taking no for an answer, not looking at it through a set of glasses that everybody has. Everybody's got the same glasses on. Wear a different pair. Look at things differently. Go for it. Don't let the world talk you into being complacent. I'd love people to really think about is their thoughts. Have you ever read The Untethered Soul?
No.
Got to put it on your list.
Okay.
How about Eckhart Tolle, The Power of Now?
Sure. Yeah.
You read that?
I have. Yes.
Okay. So, and Untethered Soul is, for me, it's that and so much more. It's a great book.
Wow.
So I don't know if you had another question. So I'll reframe that. It's that one.
Yes.
But if there's one specific question, I'd love for people to say, how do you be the observer of your thoughts? And that's something.
So how do you?
Yeah. And that's something I would, and the only reason I say this is because I've been obsessed with it for the last 3 years, because I want to be the observer of thoughts immediately. And I'm not there yet. I want it to trigger, because when you're having a bad day, an angst day, a stressful day, you feel off or overwhelmed, most of the time it's just the thoughts we're having in that particular day. And when you can look back and view those thoughts, you can make a decision to throw them out or not let that spin you up, or feel it for 10 minutes and then throw it out. But when you leave them there, they just linger. And the more I've become aware of my thoughts, the more I've evolved as a person. So again, I'm sitting here because my daughter, you're probably bored to death, hon. Love you. She's doing great over there. I'm going to tell a story about her. I am trying to observe my thoughts as they happen. Yeah. So I don't know if she'll remember this, but we were, and I'm sharing this as my story, but I want you to put yourself in these shoes. This could be your husband, your wife, your kids, your coworker, your partner, people you do business with, employer, employees. But we're at breakfast, and breakfast is really important to our family. We have breakfast every single day, and I cook for them most of the time. And so we sit at breakfast and we try to have conversations about gratitude and all this kind of stuff. And my son, Brody, was obsessed with these crayons. And they were like these crazy colors. They weren't red. They were like aqua blue, marine, something.
Sure.
So I'm sitting there using them, and I pull it out. I go, God, this is a cool color. And he names it. And I'm telling this for a reason. So I pull out another. He names all. I was at 25 or 50 in that pack. So he names all of them, these big, long names. I'm like, dude, what an incredible gift. I couldn't memorize these if I spent a month trying.
Right.
That's not how my brain thinks. But that's him. He's this structured, organized kid. Huh. So Bree, she says to me, I can do that. So I don't know if you remember this, hon, but she studied it. And like 5 minutes later on the second one, she didn't remember. I'm like, we're all blessed with different gifts. I couldn't remember. He does that, but my daughter's the inventor. She comes up with ideas that are real, not kid inventions. She's going to be amazing. She's going to be the visionary. My son's going to be the implementer. If you ever read Rocket Fuel, that's the two kids I have. I have an implementer and a visionary, right? So when she tried, all of a sudden, she got upset and started almost crying. And she said, because there was so much attention going to my son.
Of course.
And she says, Dad, it's because you spend more time with Brody than me in the mornings. And I remember just having the immediate thought that may have came from my dad or the way I was brought up. And I said to her, Bree, don't lie to me and don't lie to yourself. That's not true. I work my butt off to be completely equal, and you're telling yourself a lie. It's not a good story. And I went on this rant, and she tucked it up. She stopped tears. She tucked it up. It was the first time ever that she left the house without kissing me goodbye, ever. And I'm like, well, she just got to learn that lesson.
Yeah.
And she left for about a half hour, and it hit me like a ton of bricks. Like, I observed that thought I had. And what I basically told my daughter is that I didn't give a shit about her feelings, that it didn't matter how she felt.
Right.
That Dad was right. Tuck it down. I said if she was married to a man and I watched her try to tell her husband about her feelings, how she was feeling, and he basically told her to shut up and tuck it down, I'd have a talk with that dude if he's married to my daughter. And I treated my daughter that way. I got in my car because I'm sharing this because I practiced trying to observe what's going on. Why am I feeling this way? What is this thought I'm having? Step back, look at it. When I stepped back and looked at it, I knew I screwed up. I drove to school 100 miles an hour.
Even if you were right.
Even if I was right. No,
but it's not about...
I might have been right that I keep equal time.
Yes.
But I didn't acknowledge her feelings.
Exactly.
I didn't acknowledge her feelings. I mean, and that's the gift of selling. It's not what people need. It's what they want and how they feel, right? So I told her feelings were off. I drove to her school 100 miles an hour. You were at chapel. Do you remember I came and got you out of chapel? I got her out of chapel, and I walked her outside, and I said, Dad screwed up. I said, I may have been right in context, but I wasn't right in telling you your emotions mean something, your feelings mean something. And we had a great talk. We hugged, we kissed. Her and I had the best relationship in the world. And I left. And I felt amazing. And she felt amazing. And I never would have caught that if I wasn't observing my thoughts. So I say that story about my family, my daughter who's sitting here right now. But who are you not? You know, what thoughts are clouding your judgment in a marriage or in a relationship or in your partnership or trying to get a raise or taking your life to another level? Whatever it is in your life, most of the time it's those thoughts.
that
are
messing with us. And if you can, you can observe them, you can adjust them.
And something I just always love saying is, because it really affected me when I was young, stop trying to get good at the things you suck at too. I need to say that because it's the biggest lie we've ever been told. It dings our confidence when I still can't read. If I wrote you 2 sentences in an email, half the words would light up misspelled, and some of them are so bad that I tried 3 different times to spell it, and the computer can't even, like, if it could talk to me, it'd be like, idiot. Like, what are you trying to say? I have no freaking clue what you're saying, and then I just put, like, good. You know? Like,
I completely relate to that.
But what it does is, let me just ask you, watching or listening right now, if you work on something you suck at, does it make you feel empowered? Does it make you feel like you want to, like me trying to do accounting? Like, could never do it. It's not my personality. So, what I know about the most successful people on the planet, including you, Ed, you just got really great at a few things.
Correct.
The things that light you up, the things that inspire you, and when that fire starts, you can't stop it, and eventually you'll pay someone to do the things you suck at. Maybe you can't afford that now, but just don't let anybody give you a bill of goods on working on the things. Try to get better at what you're failing. No, just go get great at a few things. And
I wish I could debate you on that, but I can't because I 100% agree.
Did you ever have something where it immediately boiled your blood, immediately made you feel pissed, like anger or adrenaline rushed through, and not in a good way, not positive adrenaline? A lot of times that happens when you know someone took advantage of you. You know, sometimes that happens when people lie to you, like blatantly lie to you. Or someone causes something when you knew it was going to happen. Like, please don't do that. Please don't do that. They do it and it breaks, or it changes, or the relationship is over, or the business doesn't work, or someone robs money from you. I don't know, maybe you're thinking right now, maybe somebody took advantage of you by being unfaithful in the relationship. Yeah, this is Millionaire Success Habits Podcast, but all of these things lead to a successful life. And that's why I want to share each and every one of you, I want to share this with, because we got to get it. Like, this stuff's got to stick to us. We don't get this by reading one book or listening to one podcast or watching one video. We got to live this shit. For lack of a better word, we got to stop screwing around. We got to implement this and be a part of our life. So, the reason I'm sharing this morning, I bought a piece of property 20-something years ago. I'll just tell you the story at 30,000 feet. So I buy this property 24 years ago, 26 years ago, crazy, long time ago. I bought it with someone, and since then, they kind of bailed out. Little piece of property, not millions of dollars, smaller piece of property. But anyway, long story short, they bailed out. Don't pay the taxes, don't pay the insurance, and any. So I've been paying it for years. Now, this has been 20-something years. The property's been sitting there, and I just had it for too long. It's time to I'm going to unload it and sell it to a friend at a huge discount. About a third of what I've paid for the taxes over the year and the insurance on the property, right? So I reach out to the half owner, and all I said was, hey, you know what? We got this property. I'm selling it to a friend just so I don't have to pay the taxes on it. If you want it, you could surely have it. Take over the taxes, but I'm just going to dump it. So could you sign off on it? No reply. No reply. Finally, I get a reply this morning, and it's like, well, how much could I get out of it? What kind of money can I get? And after all these years of not saying anything, and all these years of other circumstances where I went above and beyond for this person years and years ago to help out, that's what I got. Now, I'm literally in my car before I go, and I'm looking at text messages just moments ago, and I got furious. Like, it hit me, like maybe it's old feelings, like maybe being picked on when I was little because I was small, or you know, just something hit my ego, something hit my pride, and I was pissed. I'm like, I wanted to reply back, like, what the F do you mean? Like, all that I've done, paid all the taxes, all the other things, all I'm asking is to stop the bleeding, or you could even have the property if you want it. And that's the reply I get, not, hey, thanks for covering the taxes and insurance for all those years. Sorry I haven't brought anything up. Sorry I didn't contribute. But guess what? Here's what I realized. I got mad for probably, something like that could have made me mad 20 years ago for a week. I could have bitched about it. I could have told my friends about it. I would have said, oh, you won't believe what's happening to me. So my first reply was a bit snarky, like not super sarcastic. I'm like, well, then I'm done. You can have it. Take the property. I'll sign it off to you. And I almost sent another one like, what the F, man? Like, why would you? And then I thought about it, and I said, the only person that's hurting is me. I'm going to film a bunch of videos today. I'm at my studio. I just pulled in my office. I'm at my studio. It's 8:24 a.m. as I'm recording this for you. And I'm going to go in and film videos for 3 hours on a training that I freaking love. It's going to be so awesome. You guys will get access to it and you'll see it and some new podcasts and all that. If I let that bug me, that's going to screw up how I positively affect you. If I let that bug me, it's going to throw my day off. If I let that bug me, I'm going to not be the same dad to my kids when they come home from school today. I'm not going to be the same person. It's going to throw me off. Guess what? The other person, nothing's going to change for them. The only person it's going to negatively impact by me getting pissed is me. Because can I make them act a different way? Am I in charge of their emotions? Am I in charge of the way they feel? And I thought, well, maybe they're going through something. Maybe they're financially strapped. Maybe they're fighting with their spouse or their loved ones. And I just sat. This all happened literally in moments. I'm sitting in the car ready to send a wise ass reply. And I said, if I send this, only person that's hurting is me. I'm going to be off today. I won't shoot my videos. I'll start thinking, why would they do this to me? I'm such a good guy in this situation. I went over and above and people take advantage of me. Then I'll start thinking, who else is taking advantage of me? And who else has screwed me over? And why is that happening? And is my accountant doing the right job? Is my secretary doing a good job? That's the path we can go down. Am I perfect? Hell no. I screw this shit up all the time. But I just sat. And I erased the reply I was going to send, and I sent one back and said, okay, no worries, I'll handle it. I hope things are well with you. Have a great day, and best wishes on all you do. And I sent it, and it was done. It was literally done. The anger I felt, the getting taken advantage feeling I had, it was all done. It was out, and it was gone. And let me ask you, what are you holding on to right now that's hindering your success? You want millionaire success habits? Let go of the stuff that's holding you back. Let go of the stuff that builds resentment. Let go of the stuff that allows you not to trust anybody. Let go of the stuff that's stopping you from great relationships. Let go of the stuff that's stopping you from having a partnership. Let go of the stuff that keeps you afraid of going on and venturing out to do your own thing. It's only hurting you. There's probably not much I'm sharing today you haven't heard before. You've read it in books, you've heard it someplace, you've watched a video or a podcast, but what I'm going to ask you to do for the first time is actually listen and apply it. And that's been my mission lately, is like, I know there's some of the things, success principles are the same since the beginning of time. But when is it time to stop being inspired, stop just watching Ed, and start just doing what Ed does? Like, when is that time to stop looking for the next hit of a great podcast, the next hit of watching Tony or Dean or Ed or Andy or somebody watching, feeling good, and then going back to the same routine? What if this was the time? What if this was the interview? What if this was the moment you said, I'm not just going to listen, I'm going to start to do? I remember in my own life when I started getting success, I was working my guts out. I was working on cars during the day. I was working at real estate at night, and then before I did my first education course, I was doing cars during the day, real estate at night, and setting the alarm at 5 in the morning. From 5 to 9 in the morning, I'd work on trying to figure out how to write a course on how to do what I did in my life and how to be successful. I was so confused. I did all that, and guess what? I did that for years. For years, I'm just being honest, I put in lots and lots of hours. I had fun, I enjoyed myself, I played hard too, but I put in a lot of time. But then when it finally hit and I got a little momentum, do you know, I heard a lot of my friends say, oh, you lucky bastard. In fact, I had a joke for a while. It made me think. I had a joke for a while that when I try something new that's out of the norm, which most people wouldn't try, people either say, oh, Dean got lucky, you lucky bastard, or if I tried and failed, it's like, I knew that idiot wouldn't make it. There's nothing in between. And you know what? Awesome. Screw it. I don't care. I don't dislike my friends who said all that stuff. I'm still friends with them, some of them since 5th grade. But they're going to look through life through a lens of they're satisfied with okay. They're satisfied making okay money. They're satisfied with okay relationship. They're satisfied with being an okay parent. They're satisfied with an okay career that doesn't light them up. Screw that. I'm not satisfied with it. I'd rather fail miserably. If I look back on my deathbed, would you, you too, let me ask you, would you let him look back on your deathbed and be like, hey, you know what? Played it safe, didn't go after anything, but you know, I lived an okay life. that. Excuse my language. I felt like saying it and I said it. And if you have someone younger listen, I'm sorry, I feel bad now. But that's the emotion I feel. And if you're listening to me, if you're listening to my podcast, then you feel the same way. I just was having this conversation with my girlfriend Lisa on the way here. And we were talking about the things that drive you and the things that want to be, you know, it's funny you say, like, I have so many different emotions at once. Yeah. But she comes from an amazing family, just like you said your wife did. Yeah. Like, amazing. She has, there's 5 siblings, their parents are together, they're on a text string every day. They all talk every day. Like, her phone's always blowing up and going off, and it's always inspirational, and they all support each other. One just lost their job, and their whole family's like, we'll all get together, and it's finally time you start your own business anyway, and I'll build the website, I'll give you the money. Like, it's unbelievable what they do, and I love both my parents. My mom and dad are amazing, but I didn't have that. They split at 3. I was 3 when they split, and I lived with mom and then dad and grandma, and they moved, you know, I moved 20 times by the time I was 19, right? So it was all this insecurity. So, but again, that was my journey. It made me the man I am. So for me, one of the things is that I don't have something to refer to be a good dad. My father's father was physically abused all the kids. Some of them were sexually abused. And his father did that. Like, I look at this long lineage of screwed up Graziosis, and I knew it was going to stop with me. Like, my sister did it. She's an amazing mother. Actually, my nephew works for me. Incredible kids, like the greatest kid you ever met. She stopped it, and I want to do the same thing. So I'm always in. Like, you and I, when we talk later, we'll probably just talk about being a parent, because I love interviewing and talking to other great parents, because I want to learn, because I don't have a blueprint. Like I said, Lisa, she's got the blueprint. She grew up in it, right? So for me, I want to be a better man, and always want to continue to grow, so I can set an example and change the way my kids see life and experience life. I don't want to raise entitled brats. That's the last thing this world needs. I want them to have hunger and drive and be good people. And one thing I'll share with you, a dear friend of mine, he's about 15 years older than me, he said to me, and he's done extremely well, extremely well. And he said, I think at the end of our lives, when you're on your deathbed, I don't think we'll ask any other question, because you're a parent like me. He says, you're a dad like me. I could see it. Because I think the question we're going to ask ourselves is, did we do everything we could to give our kids the tools to live a fulfilled life? I said, I don't think anything, you won't say, how many women did I sleep with? How much money did I make? How many buildings did I buy? It'll be like, wow, did I give the kids? And he said, you'll be able to go off to the next place. If you could say, yes, you did your best. He goes, but what if you can't say that? Jeez. And for me, it's like, that's all I think about. It's like, that's one of the things. I can't be the perfect, I do everything I can to be a great dad, just like you. But fundamentally, I want to give them the tools to be thriving adults. Me too. And that's just one, I mean, but that, I could talk about that. I want to go conquer something right now thinking about that. People will buy from you and learn from you when they feel understood, not when they understand you. Did you hear that? That's one of the biggest secrets to my success. People will buy from you, do business from you, with you, learn from you when they feel understood, not when they understand you. Most people want to just vomit up all their experience, vomit up on how good they are, vomit up on how great their product is, and you don't even know what the person on the other side is thinking. Think about that with salesmen. Do you like a pushy salesman when you go to buy a car that comes out and says, I've been doing this for 30 years, I got this experience, this little baby'd be perfect for you, it's fast, it's quick, it's a 2-seater, it's this, and he doesn't realize you showed up because you want an SUV because you have 4 kids. Like, wouldn't it have been better if you just walked out and said, hey man, out looking for a car, what's up with your family? What do you got going on? And just listened. People buy from you when they feel understood, when there's a connection. I listen to people all the time, and they're always telling me their old story. Yeah. You know, they live in their old story, and they don't know it. They don't know it. But just the concept of a story overall that we tell ourselves, you speak about that probably more eloquently than anybody that I've heard. So just touch on the whole concept of the cognizance of the story we tell ourselves. Yeah, so I think, I mean, even with me, like I said, I had to catch myself. I was telling myself a story that maybe I should have stayed with the real estate brand. Maybe success, there's so many people diluting it that haven't had the success, they don't recognize the real thing. Like I had all kinds of stories. I'd look at people like, God, that guy seems like a scammer. Why has he got 3 million followers? Like, I started telling myself stuff, and I felt bad, and I wasn't having the momentum that I know how to create. And then all of a sudden I changed that story and I said, no, I know what I want to do for people. I'm the freaking best at it. There's nobody better than me. Give me a year, I'll be far surpassed it, and then they'll realize they're actually learning from someone who's done it.
Yeah.
And nothing changed. God didn't come down, the weather didn't change, my bank account didn't change, nothing changed except my story. So the part that I want to share is, I did an interview with a young kid, Casey Adams.
Love Casey.
Yeah,
I've
so
done with
Casey
him
asked,
too.
so he asked me, great kid, and he said, hey man, at the end, maybe he asked you, he said, you, as a young kid, there's a lot of young kids listening, what would be the one thing that you would tell people? And I'd never been asked that, and literally what just came out is that your thoughts lie to you, and to question those thoughts. Because when I look back at what stalled me or almost had me fail, or the people around me, it had nothing to do with who's president, whether you like the president or not, if he's crazy or not, the economy, your family, your friends holding you down, a job that takes too much time. It's never any of that. The only thing standing between you and your next level, a better version of you, not being me, not being Ed, not just a better version of you. The only thing, and you might not believe me right now, but I promise you someday you will. The only thing standing between you and your next level, a better version of you, is the story you tell yourself on why you can't get it. That's it.
So good.
I mean, I think about it. I remember having a real estate deal when I was broke, and it's $1 million deal, and I got $4 in the bank. And I remember saying, I'll never get this money. I'll never, and I never could. And then all of a sudden I'm like, no, screw that. I'm getting this money. And I would find it. It didn't matter if I had to beg, borrow, steal, some with the bank, some on credit cards, borrowing from this guy. I'd make the deal happen when nothing else changed. I didn't inherit money. I didn't get smarter. My IQ didn't go up. I didn't have a Harvard education. I just willed it by changing the story. So I guess an easy way for you guys to think about right now, if you talk about where you would love to be, it's a year from now, it's the greatest year of your life, and you'd love to be there. I'd love to be, working on my own company. I'd love to launch my own company. I'd like to have more time with my wife or my husband and my kids. Just say, but. And then fill in whatever that but is. That's usually your story. But my boss keeps me too busy. But my wife doesn't support me. But my family thinks I'm crazy. But I'm not that smart. But it takes money to make money. That's your story. That's the thing. That's your anchor you're dragging across the desert. Flip that story, and immediately that becomes the wind behind your sail. I mean, I don't want to oversimplify it, but at this phase of my life, it is oversimplified. And I still run into it. I will catch myself being in a space, worried about something with my kids, worried about anything, and I'm like, why is this bugging me? Why is this? Oh, because I'm telling myself lies. I'm telling myself some stuff. I change it, and then I change in a second. I screwed up in my marriage. My ex screwed up. We both screwed up. We admit our faults. We admit where we ignored the wrong things, where we pushed things off so far it was too late by the time we wanted to fix it. With all the good I've done, with all the positivity, I messed up, and I can admit that. And I hope that you can admit where we mess up. We do. But how do I honor those mistakes? By never making them again. I will never make the same mistakes. I give my ex the most respect, love. I'm still her family. She still got my back. I still got hers. We still are going to make sure the kids are first. And I see another level of life for me and my kids beyond anything I could ever imagine. If you know the product you have, the service you have, the love that you have, the person you are, if you know it's authentic, it's real, it's the best on the planet, then you have to do everything in your power to get people to take action. I say this all the time, but the movie Field of Dreams with Kevin Costner years ago, they said, if you build it, they will come. They won't come. They just won't. There's outliers that every once in a while somebody builds something that goes viral. But most of the time when you see a product that's working, you see someone who's evolving through a company, has a great relationship, it's because they know how to be persuasive, they know how to sell. But I want to teach you two things today. There are emotional buyers and there are logical buyers. And if you are just attracting one or the other, then you're doing everyone a disservice. So think about an emotional purchase. If you ever watched an infomercial, if you ever bought that tiny little hose that is like this big, it's a tiny, it can fit in your hand, and when you plug it in and you screw it on, you turn the water on, it gets 50 feet long, right? When you see something like that, you make an emotional decision. You got 2 minutes, like that hose looks great, and you buy it. That's an extreme example, and maybe it sits in your garage, you never use it. I guarantee there are things in your life you bought making an emotional decision. That's okay. We need emotions to move us forward. So some people are not, I don't want to say this in a bad way, but some people are irrational buyers. I'm an irrational buyer. from the top looking down, when I see something I like, if I go buy a new car, if I walk on the dealership, I see the car I like, I want to leave there in 25 minutes with that car. I'm irrational. I'm emotional. If I'm watching a video online or I'm at a live event and I see something I like, there's zero. I'm not waiting to research. My heart tells me it's good. My gut instinct tells me I'm good. I'm buying it. So I am an emotional, irrational buyer, but that's only a small percent of the world. Then I'm on the extreme of, I'll do it right now. I make quick decisions. On the complete other extreme are buyers who have to be extremely logical. That means if this sounds good, this car looks good, but I'm going to go home, I'm going to research it, I'm going to ask anybody I know if they have a car like that. I'm going to go check the rating. I'm going to see how many miles per gallon it gets. I'm going to see if there's any flaws, is there any recalls. And some people will just do that logical searching all the way. So that's the extreme. So what I want to share with you today is when you're selling anything, when you're persuading someone, doesn't matter, again, if it's getting a promotion from your boss, it's making more money, it's selling your product or service, I want you to think of attracting and fulfilling both of them. You need to get people emotional. People don't make decisions without being emotional, be connected, feel moved, have a feeling inside. But then if you cover the logical part, for those that want to overthink, then you can really compound and exponentially grow your sales. So for example, this past weekend, I was at an event and I spoke on stage and I offered a $16,000 mastermind. Incredible training, worth every dime. There were the irrational, emotional buyers like me who took action immediately. I would have taken action halfway through the presentation. But then there were some people who waited until the second day. And some people that are very logical waited until the third day, last minute, right before they walked out the door. And the sales were about equal, the emotional and the logical. But here's the thing I want you to be careful of. In your own life, make sure you don't get so logical and need every I dotted and every T crossed that you never make a decision. You never pull the trigger. Every year, like I'm gonna, I should have, I would have. It's because you probably have beliefs from parents, beliefs from teachers that you need to research, that you need to look before you leap. I have the thoughts of jump out of the plane, grow wings on the way down, because he who hesitates loses. So two things I want to share. If you're selling, if you want to fuel your company, your life, you want to persuade people, remember some people make emotional, some people make logical decisions. Merge the two together, sales will increase. In your own life, don't get so logical that you missed out on amazing opportunities. If you are listening to this podcast, you're listening to other podcasts that motivate you, give you capabilities to go faster, quicker, make more money, have more freedom, control in your life, all those types of things. But none of it, listen to me, listen to this clearly, maybe for the first time in your life, really hear me. None of it is possible if your confidence is down. So I want you to think about the things in your life that steal your confidence. And remember, when I say steal your confidence, I don't mean that you have 100% of confidence and you do something and you go to 20% or 10%. I'm talking about when your confidence is off just 5%, do you make smart decisions? When your confidence is down, do you go after the business? Do you ask for the money? Do you start the website? Do you get the girl? Do you get the promotion? Do you ask your boss for a raise? No, when your confidence is down, that's when you start saying, well, maybe this is good enough. Maybe my relationship is good enough. I should just be happy with what I got. I should just be happy with the money I make. Screw that. If you were happy, you wouldn't be here. You'd be doing something else right now besides listening or watching me. So let's just face the facts. Where you are right now is not sufficient for you. Doesn't mean it's horrible, but it's not enough. And if you want to get to that next level, you need to protect your confidence. By any shape, measure, or form, protect it. So what are the things that ding your confidence? I realized at an early time, it's probably been 10 years, that watching the news for me, when I watch the news and I see that it looks like the world is going to hell in a handbasket, or what the president is saying today, or what Congress is saying, or you listen to the left or the right, or people in the middle, if you listen to all the gun violence and all the news does for me is make me question where the world is going in my next level. So for 10 years now, I've been on a news diet. I don't watch the news. I have no clue what's going on, nor do I care. It was the biggest transformation in my life. Where I want to spend my time, I want to spend time with my family, the people I love, my kids, my team members. They deserve the best of me. They don't deserve Dean at 95% confidence. They deserve 100%. And if I watch the news, it brings it down. So I won't be the best team leader. I won't be the best father. I won't be the best man I can be. I won't be the best inspiration for you. So screw the news. It dings my confidence. It's out. I've been on a news diet. I challenge you to do the same thing. For me, I don't know about you, but if you have your phone, I'm recording on my phone here. I'm stopped now. I can talk to you. But I don't know. This is my wallet. But if you ever look at your phone, if it dings, someone texts you or calls you, and you look at it and you go, oh, should I answer this now? Should I answer it later? To me, that robs my confidence. I don't want those people in my life. I either have to set boundaries or I have to push them out of my life. Listen, let's just be honest. Stop feeling bad for other people. Stop dimming your glow. Stop talking about your aspirational next level. Stop fantasizing about your dreams in front of people because it may insult them or make them feel inferior, or they may tell you you're a dreamer. If that's the case, push them out of your life or become Teflon and don't listen to their People with unsuccessful businesses also take opinions from the wrong people. They take advice from your parents, advice from your friends at a picnic, advice from people who pretend they know what they're doing, their coworkers. If someone's not playing the game at the highest level possible, do not listen to them. If someone tried and failed, don't listen to them because they only know how to do it wrong. But people do all these things. They focus their energy. They want to make more money. They focus their energy on the wrong areas. They focus on the products, the colors, they focus on the logos, they focus on the location or what their website should look like, and all this obsessive stuff that means nothing at the end of the day. They try to create something that people need, and people don't buy something unless they want it. And then when it's not working or before they launch, they ask an unqualified person. And then you wonder why your business doesn't work and you feel like you're stuck at a job or stuck in a business that's not paying you anything. And if you have your own business and you're working 40, 60, 80 hours a week and making less than you can at a job, then you just built yourself a job. You don't have your own business. Your next level of life lives on the other side of your biggest worry, your biggest fear, your biggest obstacle. And I can only say it by going through it as I'm repeating myself because I want to hammer this home. Face it, deal with it, fix it, and watch how much you grow. I can honestly say, and I'm in a place right now that I'm blessed that I went through it. I'm a better version of me. The mistakes I made, I'll never make again. And the next level of life is just an inch away from me.
Because you made it this far in a video, I want to celebrate you. Most people start and don't finish. Most people never actually follow through. Most people say they want something, but they don't ever do the work to actually get it. But you are different. You are special. Believe Nation, you made it here all the way to the end, and I love you. So as a special celebration, if you put a hashtag believe down in the comments below on this video, I will showcase you and celebrate you somewhere on the screen in a future video because you are awesome. For 10 more amazing rules from Tom Bilyeu, check the video right there next to me. I think you'll love it. Continue to believe, and I'll see you there.
When you're doing something, let's say at 80% perfect, you get the result, you get the vast majority of the accolades or the success metrics, all of it can be got without having to go all the way